Good morning and welcome to another exciting day 4 with the man Frank SCALISH. It is day 4, number 206. And Frank, I got back from Alaska and have just been battling severe allergies since the moment we touched down.
Outstanding. I don't know how, dude. I'm tipping my hat to you right now because I don't know how you do so many things and still manage to put things together. I am beside.
I try. Myself. Well, I mean, I had a little bit of motivation this past. That is vacuum sealed Alaskan king salmon that was smoked.
Oh, dude,
right there. I mean, look at that. Look at that stuff right there. That's my buddy Owen. So he caught that on a 8-weight fly rod and a 12 mil bead out of this little river. It ran 200 yards up either side. He was yelling at me, not like that, the entire time as I tried to net it because current.
You can't net a salmon by the tail.
Yeah, I kept trying to.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And then I tried to trap it on the bottom, which I knew was a bad idea.
That is so funny.
I'm going to have to edit the video, but I would like to show it at some point because if you thought my net job in the Pan Am games was bad, you should see me trying to net this king salmon.
Dude, the net job in the Pan Am games was like a swish. It was like nothing but net after the first airlift.
This was like a drunken toddler trying to do calculus. And
that's excellent.
So then he caught it on the summer solstice at like 1 a.m. So he didn't get home until 3 or 4 a.m. Then we filleted the salmon, then put it in a brown sugar salt brine for 24 hours.
Perfect.
After cutting it into strips.
Yep.
Then drying it out, glazing it with maple syrup.
But you rinsed the brine off of it, right?
Yeah. Rinse the brine off. Okay. And then smoking it with apple wood and some other wood that he used.
Perfect.
And then finishing it with a baked glaze. And that is how you get that.
That is probably so delicious, dude. It's one of my favorite things on earth, food-wise. It's one of my favorites.
It's pretty amazing. And then he was like, hey, we're going to eat some of this super fresh. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Oh, yeah, there it is right there.
Oh, look at that, man. Dude, that's not fair. I'm hungry.
Yeah, so I just woke up and figured I just make you super jealous this morning. But then I saw last night that you went out and cracked him again.
I hate to sound like that, but yeah, I did. But it was so different. So I had a fan. He did a locker room with me, and he texted me this like 4-page thing that he wanted me to do on Bass Talk Live, and I'm going to do it in depth. And basically, it's when you prepare for a tournament, you go out and practice for the tournament. You got everything dialed in. You're on them. You know what's going on. You got everything dialed in. You get out there during the tournament, and nothing is the same. How do you prepare for that? So I'm going to do a show. We're going to do a show on it because it's detailed and it's extensive, and quite frankly, it was very well written. So I'm going to break it all down in sections, and Matt and I are going to talk about it prior, and we're going to do a deep dive on it because Matt has piles of experience tournament fishing. I have tournament fishing knowledge, and it's going to be a collaboration between Matt and I, and we're going to do this show. And it might even be a 2-parter. Depends on how long it is. But I think it's a beautiful topic. So that's the funny part about yesterday. So everybody knows that I have literally been offshore since the end of the first week in June. Mm-hmm. These fish where we live, they did it early and they got the hell out. And I got on them. We're going to do a show on that too, on how to follow them out. I followed him out. I got on him right away, and I'm fishing 3 or 4 different lakes. Three mostly. The fourth one I throw in the mix just to challenge myself.
To throw people off in case people see you. They say, "Oh, I saw him on the sewage discharge."
Yeah,
and then you saw what he posted, so you got to make sure you throw that in there every now and then just to throw people off the scent.
Well, what it is, I have to be brutally honest with you guys. I fish a lot of the lakes in Ohio. I fish all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disgustingly bored with it. I want to leave. I want to leave and go fish across the country in the worst possible way. So what I did about 3 years ago was I decided that I was going to do nothing but hunt for big fish. I'm gonna redial in these lakes. I'm gonna rethink how I'm thinking about this, because I want to target the biggest and the best fish I could catch every time I go out, and not so much go for a numbers game. Go for the quality, not the quantity. And it's taken me about a year to dial in on them, and I have been very successful at managing between 17 and 23 pound limits almost every time I go out. And that's pretty good in this state. Now, you could catch big fish in this state for sure, and not including Lake Erie because it doesn't count. Because you could always go out and catch 20 plus pounds on Lake Erie. So yeah, dude, I want to come down to Logan with you, man. And I'm sorry I didn't call you back last night.
He's talking about Frankie.
Yeah,
for those on iTunes.
My son is listening. Yeah,
he said, "Come on down to Bama, Pops. I'm having a time on Logan Martin."
Yeah, he got on the spots there, and he's just railing. But anyhow, now I lost my complete train of thought.
You're talking about catching big fish, giant fish. It took you a year, but between 17 and 23.
Yeah, so it's been very effective for me. I've relegated myself to the fact that I may not go out and catch 50 bass. But if I catch, 15 or 17 bass, I'm in the big weight. And I'm okay with that. It's a new challenge. It was exciting. It got me reinvigorated to go back to these lakes, because I'm doing a lot of things, not so much different, but different. And so anyway, so I have been, since the end of the first week in June, I have been plastering the fish offshore, big giants. And, I was excited. So I decided I'm going to go to this other lake, one that I don't frequent. And I have some offshore stuff in this lake that is so textbook that when you see it on side imaging, the ledge looks great. But when you see the ledge on live scope, and you can see every individual boulder and the stumps and the break line, part of it's vertical, part of it's gradual. The gradual side is a gravel runoff. The vertical side is almost like an underwater bluff. I mean, it's like if you had to draw it, you couldn't draw it as good. And so I was excited. And so I went out there. And the first thing I did was I launched my boat, and I got 5 stumps that tail off from 10 feet to 15 feet on a sharp ledge, but it's not a drop, and it's not my good stuff. It's just I found these stumps crappie fishing, and I have never caught a bass on them yet. But I always, no matter what time of year I go there, I always hit them first because the crappie are there, and I'm catching, pound and a half.
Did you say it's crappie fest?
Yeah, yeah, it's wrong. I mean, I'm catching them on 5-inch minnows. And that's how big they are. And they don't hesitate. They just freaking run up and boom. So I go there. I literally launch the boat, and it's literally 2 seconds, and I'm on those stumps. So I launch the boat. I go, I'm here. I have to. It's like an addiction. I have to throw something on them. So I slide up to them. I see fish on them. Not a lot of fish, maybe 5 or 6 floating around them. I can't see what's behind them, obviously, but I can see 5 or 6. Lob the minnow out there, working it back. One peels up. Whoa, crappie. I'm like, of course it is. So I catch a few crappie. I throw them back, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Well, I spin the boat around, I'm going to, I literally spin around and I clipping everything down because I'm going to make the run to where I really want to go. And as I spin the boat around in like 7-8 feet of water, I see some fish crawling on the bottom. And Frankie, and I was actually on speakerphone with Frankie. He was on Logan Martin, and I was where I was at. And I said, those are probably bass. I got to throw on them. So I throw the minnow out there, shake it over, one peels up, gets it, and it's a bass. And I'm oh, okay, hooray. Woo, I got a 2-pounder. Yeah, that was a good one. That was, I waited, it was 4.65, something like that. Anyway, so I hang up with Frankie. I peel down the lake. I get to the place I want to be, and the wind is good. It's blowing not the way I want it to, but it's light, so I can fish it the way I need to fish it, the angles I need to take. So I'm okay with it. So I'm casting out my NXSs, and I'm hitting the goods, and I'm not getting bit, and I'm not getting bit, and I'm not getting bit. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Normally it is on fire. Mm-hmm. So I pick up the micro football jig. I use the GLF football jig. I pick up the micro football jig. I rifle it out there. I'm bouncing it around down there. I'm feeling everything. It's like perfect. And I literally get nothing. So I said, okay, so the wind is blowing the wrong direction to make this spot good. I'm going to go to the other end and fish my way into the wind. Maybe because of the wind direction, it stalled the current, and I need to fish it the other way. So I do that. I go through the whole process, and I still catch a flat 0. So I'm like, there is no possible way. Yeah. So there's a couple of, there's a real steep bank near where I have this ledge. So I said, well, I know for a fact that the lake was flooded. It was right in line with all the storms we had. The lake was flooded way over its banks for about 5 days. They were sucking the water out of this place like mad to get it back to normal pool. So it was at normal pool yesterday. The water was off color, but it was dirtyish looking. But I could see my bait down 1.5 feet, but it was brown. So I'm like, okay, visibility should not be that much of a factor. So I'm going to go run the steep bank first, and then I got a real shallow offshore spot that I'm like positive it's going to be going down because of the watercolor. I run to the steep bank. The first shadow I pitch into, I catch that 4.5 pounder. So I'm like, okay, I kind of had an idea that this might go down, but I didn't want it to go down. It was like everything that I was not prepared for.
Okay.
So basically, here's how my deck of my boat looked. I had 4 deep diving crankbaits on. 2 Carolina. Which is what you
started with.
Right. 2 Carolina rigs.
Which is what you started with.
A football jig, 2 jigging minnows, and a flipping jig.
You caught them all on the flipping jig.
That's what my front deck looked like. So I catch that big one. I literally said, well, I got shadow on this bank. I got to fish the shadows. So I go down and I catch a bunch more. Now, they weren't all giants. A lot of them were 2.5 pounders, some just pushing 3, a lot of,
fun fish, though.
Yeah, a lot of 1.5-pounders keeping you busy every other flip. I said, nope, I'm not doing this today. I didn't come here to do this. I'm not doing it. And I leave, and I go to my...
Did you Frank move?
I swear on my life.
You left a bite out of spite?
I did. I swear on my life. So I said, I'm not doing this. There's no way this shallow offshore spot is going to have them. I'm going there and I'm going to crack on them. So I go there and I literally fish the crap out of it and caught nothing. nothing. And here, I was so, this is where we as anglers get ourselves in trouble. I was so adamant on an offshore bite that I literally left all my crankbaits, my Carolina rigs, everything on the deck of my boat. I literally piled it all up on one side. I dove in my rod locker. I grabbed out, and do not make fun of me because I haven't thrown this in 5 years. I grabbed a shaky head.
Nice.
I swear. So I grab a shaky head and my jig, and pull out 4 flipping sticks with soft plastics on them. So half of my boat is for the abyss. The other half of my boat is for what I could see from my eyeballs. So I'm like, this is the worst thing for me and my OCD imaginable. Is my front deck cluttered?
And you've got a yard sale on the front deck now.
Yeah, I'm like freaking out. Like every time I grab a rod to do something, it's tangled in another rod.
Oh yeah.
I'm sweating. It's 92 degrees out. I'm soaked. I mean soaked. I can't, and I am miserable. I'm just gonna go home because this.
And you don't have a camera guy with you.
Zero.
So you're doing this for the love of the sport.
I'm doing it for the love and the addiction in my heart. So I am like ready to go home. I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm not going to be flipping the bank all day. This is not what. Hear me out. I said, well, I'm back here in the shallow part. Let me run to some shallow docks and some shallow shoreline cover that I usually catch them on, but it's always spring and late fall. Let me go there and see what goes on. So I pull out a square bill, a fat boy, a custom painted perch color that will be coming out this year.
A little teaser there.
Yeah, and here, look, I painted this. This is no lie. I painted this for these northern lakes with perch because it's just money. Anyhow. So I have this thing on, and I leave the hump I'm on, and the hump I'm on is really close to the bank. I just slide off of there. There's a couple of docks, a broken boat lift, a blowdown. Okay, I got something to throw at. I lob the square bill out there. Boom, I catch one. It's a small one, but I catch one. I throw back out there. Boom, I catch another one. I'm like, no, not today. Pick up the jig, throw up, boom, catch another one. I'm like, God bless it. So I said, I think it's time to put all the big crankbaits and all the stuff away and just put all my flipping sticks away. Just put the jig out and the shaky head out and leave a jig and minnow on the deck because you always have to have one on the deck and just go catch them. Just go catch fish. You know what I mean? So no, I don't do that. I leave the hodgepodge of crap on my boat. I'm stepping on them. They're tangling up in my sandals. I'm losing my mind. And I'm catching so many fish that I have a pile of spine craws and money craws and piles of them in the bottom of my boat. So when I go in the hole of my boat to move, I'm stepping on them and slipping on them. And it was... This is not me, guys. Anyhow, so I said, well, there's a steep bank. Let me go. I'm not going to give up on the big crankbait. I'm going to pick up my NXS, and I am going to go. This is an old school technique made famous by the old spoon plugger. Buck Perry had spoon plugs, and all he did was troll contour lines. Each spoon plug was a different size, and each spoon plug got down to a different depth. So all he did was parallel contours. He never cast across them or anything like that. He was literally a pure contour fisherman. So I said, let me parallel this stuff with the big crankbait. And I'll start 5 feet. I'll go to 8 feet. I'll go to 10 feet. 12 feet, 15 feet, but parallel the bank. So I rocket the NXS out there, and I know it's shallow for what I'm fishing, but I'm not taking another rod out. I don't care. Crawl it down there. It's walking over rock. It's walking over wood. Boom, I catch one. I'm like, oh, okay. Do it again. Boom, I catch another one. I'm like, okay, let me back out. I back out a little bit. Nothing. Back out farther. Nothing. Back out farther. Nothing. I go, okay. There is no point in me fishing deeper than 5 or 8 feet. Now I'm putting everything away. So now I put everything away except the shaky head and the jig and the minnow. And I'm going down and I'm catching them. I'm catching them like it was spring spawning time. Okay. So you have to realize these fish were offshore. Like they were legitimately offshore. The rains, the floods, them sucking the water out like mad to get the lake back down, relocated these bass. At first, I couldn't figure it out. But then something else happened because I did not put the square bill away because it's the depth range I wanted. I started catching Mugombo-sized bluegills on the square bill. Like the slab lab bluegill type things. Okay.
Really?
Big bluegills. Then I realized there's another bluegill spawn going on the lake.
A secondary bluegill spawn.
Correct. So now I have 2 things: the high water to normal pool, the dirty water, the bluegill spawn. And that's how the day went. And I caught them up until, in fact, the last cast I made, I caught a 3-pounder, let it go, put the rods away, and went home. And that was that. But it was so bizarre because, to be honest with you, I was fighting it every step of the way, even though I knew after the first 20 minutes what I needed to do. I fought it and fought it and fought it. And as fishermen and tournament anglers especially, you can't fight the change. You have to embrace it and you have to adapt to it. Or that day for me would have been the worst fishing day that I have ever had if I didn't do what I did. And so I think
it was primarily bluegill, the reason that they were up there.
I think the floods. The lake was.
So they just.
Yeah, the lake was flooded for probably 6 days, and I think with the high water episode, the fish didn't have to leave. They didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I think the dirty water issue offshore probably had some of them slide back to the bank. I'm sure there was fish floating. I'm sure there was. But everything I threw on that was floating was a crappie. To my dismay, because some of them were pretty big, and they should have been bass. I did catch a few bass, but I could see them crawling on the bottom. So I think if I would have said today's going to be a scoping day, I think I could have caught enough bass to be happy scoping. But
yeah, that sounded pretty fun the way you ended up catching them, though.
Oh man, it was so much fun.
All right, you said a couple things during that story that I made notes of that I want to go back over. First of all, you said you were throwing the GLF, the Great Lakes Finesse football head.
Yeah.
Are you adding the skirt on it, or?
Yes, I do both. Here's what I do. I tie my own skirt on them. Basically, I tie my skirts predicated on the lakes I'm going to because I know what colors.
That, right?
Yes, that jig right there doesn't hang up. The hook is perfect.
That is the most. I know that they just came out with a Ned head, but I don't care. That is the most badass Ned head jig head that I've ever used too.
Yeah,
like the lighter versions of it. So you tie a football head on that, but if you're dragging it on rock or somewhere where you're not going to get snagged, you don't worry about a weed guard.
No, I to be honest with you, I bought so many of them, I don't really care if there's stumps there or not. Most of the time I can finesse it through, but it does hang up in the wood a lot if it's branchy. I found out if it's branchy, I hang up all the time.
It's a Gamakatsu 604 in that.
It's such the perfect size. So the funny thing about it is what I found with that is it's a guaranteed hookup, and you're probably 99% land ratio on it. Because the bass pick it up and they pick it up with the hook. There's not, like my flipping jig is big and gaudy. A lot of times they'll pick it up by the trailer, or they'll roll it over in their mouth, and you have a tendency to maybe miss a fish or two with that. So that finesse football jig is it's become, let me put it to you this way, I've always got one on. It's become that important in my arsenal.
Primarily the 3/8.
Yeah, I fish the 3/8 almost exclusively, except Matt, you turned me on to using it as a Ned head, and the lighter weights are disgusting.
Yeah, that 8-ounce Ned head is pretty filthy, especially when you can get it with the green pumpkin or the brown.
It's
matte
brutal.
Finish, and you put it on that. Yeah,
it's brutal. So I kind of took that playbook from you on that, and have been very pleased. Now, here's something weird. So I've been throwing the finesse football on a spinning rod with 12-pound braid.
Oh, wow.
12-pound fluoro leader. That's how I've been fishing it, structure fishing it. I have a good friend of mine, Troy, from North Carolina.
Yep.
He's fishing it on a bait caster with 17-pound fluoro.
Just like dragging it like a traditional
football jig. So I'm going to start doing that now too with it, because I just feel I'm missing an application with it, and so I want to do that with it. But yeah, so it's funny. It's just funny because like I said, I'm trying to do things differently. I'm trying to target a different quality of bass. And so it's fun again, because I'm back to the experimental stage with different techniques. How can I cross over a technique, et cetera, et cetera. Like with the shaky head, I haven't really picked a shaky head up in over 5 years.
Yeah, you haven't. You're not you've mentioned it, but you're not. I know you're not a noted shaky head aficionado.
No, but see, on Bassmasters, you had to be. On Bassmasters, we had lakes where if you weren't throwing it, you weren't doing it.
Canterbury was just on live at 10 Killer, blasting them on a shaky head.
Yeah, it's weird.
But he was scoping with it.
Yeah, dude, I did the same thing. I caught so many scoping with it; it was ridiculous yesterday. So all I did was. Yeah. So the 764 is a good bet, because I switched a rod up. I had a prototype 775, and I went to that one because it was a little soft in the tip for me to flip with, and I thought it would be perfect for the shaky head. The tip was soft enough, but it was too heavy in the midsection, and I lost a bunch of fish doing it. So I'm definitely swapping the rod out to a 764 after yesterday, because you find when you do things and you're fine tuning a technique, you find that it's a process of elimination. What's going to give you better sensitivity? What's going to give you a better hookup ratio? What's going to give you a better landing ratio? And so that's where my process is with that now. But anyway, so I picked the shaky head up, and everything I did was shallow. Nothing was deeper than 8 feet. Most of the bites were coming right on the bank to 2 feet off the bank, except there were a couple gravel drop runs where the fish piled up on the outside corner of the drop. Still 4 to 6 feet, nothing crazy deep. And I was just scanning around this one point where I caught him in the spring cranking red speed end. I swing it out there and I see a stump, and I see 2 fish. Literally, if it didn't move, I wouldn't have known they were fish. They were literally plastered. One was on top of the stump, one was in the root ball. And when I scanned over, the one on top lifted up and went back down. And I said, oh, man. And I lobbed the shaky head out there, and I'm watching the shaky head go down. And believe it or not, the one on top of the stump came up to look at it. The one in the root ball came up and got it.
That's how it always works.
Yeah, I did. It was wild. And so, yeah, so it was fun. I mean, it was fun. I found a little ditch. I found a little ditch, dude, and I scope over there, and the whole bottom of the ditch is moving. And I go, those are either big, giant bluegill, because the ditch was only like 4 or 5 feet deep. They're either big, giant bluegill, or there's 50 bass down there. And I cast the shaky head up there, and I just caught them one right after the other after the other. I was like, oh, my gosh.
The other thing that I had written down, we were talking about the jig that you're throwing, and you mentioned the spine craw on it. Did you go with the spine craw? So I'll pull the spine craw up. Is this a case where warmer water and the bluegill spawn, you wanted that kicking action that moved water as opposed to putting a chunk or something more subtle as the trailer on it? So same jig, but different chunk than what you would use in the winter.
100%. So okay. Here was my thought pattern. The water was dirty. I was throwing black and blue. The water was dirty. So I wanted something to move water. All right. And so I put the black and blue on. I dyed the very tips of that spine craw. I dyed them chartreuse because I wanted something a little visible.
So you dyed the blue chartreuse.
Yes, just the tips of the pin.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Oh yeah, I always do that. It makes it look alive. And so that's pretty much exactly 100% my setup. Black and blue jig, black and blue trailer.
Half ounce?
5/16.
So light.
Light, because I'm fishing super shallow with it. 5/16, nothing fancy. So which one is that? That's the one I was throwing right there. That's the one I was throwing. Black with blue flake. Now I also put them on my Carolina rig too. That was what I had on my Carolina rig. I had black and blue flake on the Carolina rig, and I had mud fleck on the Carolina rig. But like I said, I could have Carolina rigged all day out there because there were no fish out there. Which was sad to me.
Couple questions about it. Matthew Weimer asked, what about a finesse worm on a finesse football head? Good or bad idea? It's the same thing as a shaky head. It's a good idea.
It's a good idea. I put the shaky head on because there was a lot of wood in that 4.
So you were range. Texas rigging the shaky head.
Yes.
The finesse football head makes it a little bit tougher. I guess you could just barely skin hook it and then go back and Texas rig it. But now you're basically dealing with what the Minnesotans and Wisconsins call a jig head worm.
Yeah, pretty much. So I was actually rigging my shaky head totally weedless.
Yeah.
Because of the brush factor. I did catch some on the micro football jig casting to the Rocky Banks, up to the Rocky Banks. I did catch some on it, but most of it came on a regular flipping jig and the shaky head. And I had to make it simple for me because I can't stand clutter on my
just
desk.
A 6-inch standard finesse worm.
100%. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It was as miserable as the heat was for me. I probably drank 12. I freeze water. What I do is I freeze the bottles of water and then put them in the boat. And so when I first get there, I pull one of the frozen bottles out and put it in my cup holder. And then in about a half hour, it's halfway thawed out and I just start drinking it. And as soon as that one's empty, I put another one out and do the same thing all day long.
That's smart.
And so that's how I do it because otherwise it's brutal, man.
Yep.
It's just brutal.
Now, let me ask you another question. You've been known to put a dinger on a shaky head or a Ned head.
100%.
That actually, I believe, is why you have not thrown a quote-unquote shaky head in such a long time because you throw a shaky head, you just call it a Ned head. and then you put an absurdly large 5-inch dinger on it. So you're basically
100%.
throwing a shaky head. What made you go with the shaky head and not the Magnum Ned?
Well, ordinarily, that's what I have out. 100%. I'll be honest with you. I said, I haven't thrown a shaky head in a while.
Nice.
I'm taking it out because
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, because I know I'm going to catch him on the dinger and the net head. I know I am, but I also know that some of the areas I'm fishing are real brushy, and I don't want to have to deal with going in to get the net head all the time. So I decided on the shaky head, and I was really happy I did because the rod I put it on is not made. We decided against it 3 years ago, so we didn't make it. And I said, this is going to be perfect for my shaky head. I'm going to use it. And it turns out it wasn't. So now I know that. So I'm glad I did that because I learned something too from it.
Yep. If you noticed, I have my Lake Fork, Texas Crappie Fest shirt on.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, and that is in honor of the 300 Bobby Garland and Bandit collab limited edition crappie colors in the crank.
You know, it's okay. So trolling for crappies was such a thing. Remember that?
Oh yeah, there were trolling for crappies is kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of like the OG Carolina rigging.
Yeah.
No, because that's spider rigging. There's like a subculture of crappie trollers, like little bitty planer boards, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, good friend of mine, Pete Pons, used to troll 300 bandits for crappie like it was his job. And he caught them. Man, did he catch them. Yeah, go to the next one, dude.
Yeah, this is the one. I was just letting you get it set up before I hit everybody with that.
Yeah, that's the one right there. What are they calling that one? Because to me, isn't that electric chicken?
Yes.
But what are they calling it? Because it might be different because it's more semi-transparent with the pearl side, which I really like a lot. You got to scroll to the color. Yeah.
Spring Fling.
Spring Fling. So that essentially in my world is electric chicken. But the cool thing they did with that one is they made it semi-translucent, and the translucent stuff is pearled, which to me adds a little.
Is this not a smallmouth killer?
I don't see how it couldn't be.
It's a Bandit, right? It's not like they changed the crankbait, so it's a Bandit 300.
It's just
the
a
thing
Bandit
that makes
300.
it is that they're crappie colors.
Correct.
That's slightly translucent, and it has the smallmouth's two favorite colors on it with pearl. Like, how could that not be a crate? And no one has ever seen a crankbait. No smallmouth has ever seen a crankbait that color. But it's two colors that they attack with reckless abandon.
Right. I think they would wreck it. I think they would absolutely wreck it. But yeah, so it's really cool. But going back to the, not to belabor a crappie thing, but guys like trolling for crappies is kind of falling out of favor with the advent of live scope. But with me scoping crappies as much as I do, there's such an advantage to this because it's like yesterday I was bass fishing. I caught crappie just because I was throwing on floating fish. And some of them were right at like 12 feet deep. And I could have literally used my trolling motor, got off the main channel brakes, used live scope, trolled right over those crappie and beat the brakes off of them with that. It would have been an easy day. You know what I mean? You just, there's some, you go through them, and you wait, boom, got them. You know what I mean? It would have been an easy day if I was crappie fishing.
Oh, I just realized this. These are crankbaits that are in actual Bobby Garland colors.
Yeah. That's
so like the bluegrass is literally like the bluegrass.
Yeah.
I'm such a loser.
Yeah,
the monkey's milk
yeah,
is literally the monkey's milk.
right.
The bleeding shad is literally the bleeding shad.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of that.
Yeah,
I
get it. I get it.
Man, I'm so proud of you. You've been gone for so long, and you're still on top of it.
I'm such a loser. These are eligible. Loyal listener code BTL25 at checkout, 15% off regularly priced items.
Yeah, but I am getting those for sure.
Yeah, if you're a bandit freak, there's a couple colors in here that I like.
Yeah, you have to almost
like
have them. Oh, yeah, that dude. That's a good shad pattern because of the dark back on it. I like the contrast in that bait right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the contrast. I found that through all my studies of color, and going with the biologists, when the biologists do their color studies, what bass could see and stuff. Yeah, Drunkwood. We're back, baby. But going with what the bass can see, the biggest thing bass can differentiate is contrast. So a lot of the paint jobs that I'm doing now are very contrasting colors.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that, like even the perch pattern that I painted. So what led me to paint this perch pattern was something that happened to me a million years ago. I was in a Bassmaster event on Oneida, the first time that I was ever in Oneida.
Mm-hmm.
And I was catching smallmouth on jigs. I was catching them on jigs, Super Spook Juniors, and spinner baits. And I was doing pretty good, and I was Carolina rigging them as well. And in practice, I had flipped a couple in the boat, and they hit the deck of my boat, and they regurgitated what I was going to assume was going to be piles and piles of crayfish. And they weren't. They were perch. They were 3 and 4 inch yellow perch. So back then, I took a picture of the perch on my deck. And then I went home after that event and I painted some fat-free 7s and fat-free 6s in the exact color of that perch that they regurgitated. All in hopes and anticipation that one day we're going to go back to Oneida. And so sure enough, we go back. And I got this perch pattern. And I'm fishing a rock ridge that comes out on the side of a set of boat docks, almost like a floating marina, if you will. And the smallies were stacked up on the inside drop of this rock vein that came out. And I was literally catching 2 at a time on the crankbait. My non-boater threw everything he had and he couldn't catch a fish. And I gave him the opportunity because I couldn't use them anymore. They weren't big enough for me to call anymore. So I told him just keep fishing. And he went through a billion crankbaits. I think he caught 2. Every time I threw that perch pattern down there, I caught 1 or 2 at the same time, almost every time. So he wanted to buy that bait from me because he had a tournament on another lake in New York the week after that. He wanted to buy that bait from me for $30. And I told him, no, it's not for sale. I need them. I only painted myself 5 of them. And so they're not for sale. Mm-hmm. So when I got home, I remember when I fished Bassmasters, I never fished locally anymore. I was always gone. I was never here. I didn't see these local lakes until my Bassmasters career was over. So the perch crankbait only played when we went to the lakes with yellow perch in them. When I got home and started fishing here and started catching bass that were puking up perch, they were different color. They weren't as green and they weren't as vibrant as the Clearwater's perch were. And so that's what led me to repaint a perch pattern. I think I call it muted perch or paled perch. I don't remember, but we're going back to the contrast because I got way off the story. The contrasting vertical bars on this, the vertical bars really contrast off of the gold green pearl sides I have on this bait, because it's like a bone color, it's like an ivory color, with the pearls giving it the color, not the paint, which is cooler than crap, and it looks amazing in the water. And so I started having monumental amounts of success with it. That and another color that I came up with, which I'm not going to blow the whistle on, but those two colors I painted in. Well, honestly, I painted them in every Norman I got. TD22s, NXSs, middle ends, fat boys, everyone.
I have a completely unrelated question.
I love unrelated questions.
But it kind of is. So I was like Googling, or I was on LureNet and I was looking up like muted perch or whatever. And just to see what they had perch wise. And this weird ass thing shows up.
Oh, that's an ice fishing. That's for ice fishing. That's in Lindy.
What the hell is that, Frank?
Okay,
the Lindy perch talker?
Yeah, so as dumb as that thing looks, that thing has a cult following.
What is it?
Here, I'm gonna be so honest with you. I'm gonna tell you, it's called the perch talker, and so they put the minnow heads on the treble hook.
Wait, you don't use a full minnow, just the head.
Just the heads. You could use a full minnow if you wanted to. You could do just the heads. It doesn't matter.
Drunkwood, I was thinking the exact same thing.
So
I can't post it.
No, I'm sure you can't. I know exactly what he was going to say too.
Yeah, we got a bunch of sickos in the comments right now on the old perch talker.
Yeah,
he's trying to catch a fish here, people. All right, continue.
So anyway, and so when you shake the thing, you let it slam into the bottom. It kicks up the dust debris.
Pounding sand is what they call it.
Right. You pick it up and you shake it, and all those beads click and clack. And it draws the perch in. Like if they're not in the scope of your sonar, your 2D sonar, it'll draw them into it. I'm going to be honest, I didn't have a clue what that was. I would have never bought that in a million years, and I ice fish until I started doing the shows a bunch of years ago up where ice fishing is very prevalent. Mm-hmm. And those things sold like hotcakes.
They also have things like that.
But
that's
yeah,
about as old school as it gets there.
Yeah.
The Lindy perch talker.
Yeah, so somehow we have gone down a road. we've gone down.
Hey, do you want to hear? Why I had a little bit of self-loathing last night in the Wednesday nighter?
Yeah, I do.
So, Cranford fishes the Wednesday nighters at one of the local lakes here. He doesn't really need anybody else in the boat. It's a pure scope bite, but it's kind of helpful if you have someone that way when you're retying, or if you have a follow-up bait, or if you miss a fish, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
like
100%.
You have camaraderie, etc. Life quality. Anyway, so I was back in town for the first time in 3 months, and I was like, hey, I can fish the Wednesday nighter. And he's like, okay, good. I need you in the boat with me because I've gotten second to the same kid 3 weeks in a row. And I was like, oh yeah. I said, we got it, because this other kid fishes with his dad. Nice kid, nice guys. I don't really know him. It's kind of like a new group. We're on a different lake. So like I would venture to say that every Wednesday night, Thursday night, Tuesday night tournament group, all of them, like every group individually for the most part, best group of guys in the world, unless you're an outsider who they don't know who comes in and starts catching fish.
Oh yeah,
then everyone's an asshole. But I'm saying that by saying they're all probably the greatest guys in the world, and a lot of them are super nice to us. But I've fished it a couple times now, and I can tell they're not exactly thrilled that Austin shows up. The only saving grace is they know the kid has been beating him every week, or else I think he wouldn't have any air left in his tires. But we go out there and catch 2 5-pounders right off the hop. I catch one, Austin catches one. They're basically twins. Then out of nowhere, I mean literally out of nowhere, a intense microburst thunderstorm develops right over us.
Outstanding.
And I mean, it's like 5 minutes. It goes from sunny to lightning strike within 100 feet of us.
Holy crap.
And he's having a kid next week. And I still enjoy life enough to where I'm not going to fish in lightning yet. So we both scramble and run. And then when we come back, it's like the bite is totally different. The fish that we're following and engulfing are now barely chasing. There's more on the bottom. They're not really in the bait balls. Anyway, long story short, we knew we'd have to have at least 12 to get the job done with this other kid who puts his time in out there.
Now, are you talking 3 fish limit?
3 fish limit.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So I cast my bait out. We have about 20 minutes left. And everything comes together perfect. Bait ball, and I'm watching this fish coming up towards the bait ball, and I can just see its tail going doom, doom, doom.
Gosh.
And I said, "Oh, here we go." And Austin always goes, "That's her," or "That's him." That's what it said, and I picked it up. So I said, "Oh, that's him." I fire my bait out, and as it goes down, it goes right through the bait ball as the eye of the tiger develops, because this giant's in there just wreaking havoc. Right? I click the bail over. I go to shake it. It's already on. So I'm like, got her. And he's like, hell yeah, that's what we need. That'll give us 16, 17 pounds. And it's the same setup that I just fished. I told you I'm going to bring this up forever. Chicillo, Mexico, where I double gold medaled and caught big bass.
Outstanding.
Same exact setup. Everything's the same. Just a little bit smaller bait. And so, I mean, I was 100% in that. I caught 30 fish over 6 pounds. No big deal. And I lean into it, and I said, there she is. I got her. And you see the bait go poof, and there's this big giant ball going on the screen, and it's 5 to 7 pound largemouth.
Oh my!
And it like turns, and I found the best way to fight those. And I know it sounds weird, but on that minnow is to reel against the drag. If you actually like fight them and let them jump and run and stuff, they have a tendency to come off. So if you get them, keep the rod tip up to where you can still fight them and give it to them. But when they're coming up to jump and stuff, you just reel. And it sounds like you shouldn't be reeling, but you reel. That's the best way to do it. 1000%. If you watch all the good smallmouth guys, they reel against their drag while they're fighting the smallmouth, which I know sounds, but at certain times, like when the smallmouth is coming up, when it's just straight hauling butt away from you.
Right.
But, I'm doing the same. I got everything dialed in, and this fish turns, and I stop reeling, and it goes zzz, and just pops off. And I have absolutely no reason why it popped off. I mean, the only way I could think of is when you're minnowing. A lot of times, you're reeling it and that hook is right back there. But when that bait was falling, I'm not sure. You don't know, it's falling. That hook is spiraling. And then when you set the hook, if that fish hit it head down as it came through the pile of bait, it just didn't get it to where it stuck it right through the good part.
Right. The other thing,
go ahead.
Now, the other thing I noticed with minnowing, you gotta set the hook straight up. You can't do it sideways.
Yeah, well, I just start reeling. I mean, it's definitely a reel. It's like if you watch how Brandon Polinick sets the hook on a drop shot, which is exceptionally awkward. I never understood it, and the reason I didn't understand it was because he was so next level, and I'm just now getting to that point. So I'm like, oh, I understand that now. Long story short, Cranford's finished second to this kid by ounces 3 consecutive weeks. He weighs in front of us. He has 1199 with a 540 big bass. And this pay is pretty decent. Austin weighs our big bass. It's like 532 or something like that. 529. No. So it's less than an ounce
difference.
So we lose out on that $200. Then our fish hit the scales. He had 11.99. We had 11.96. So 3/100ths of an ounce and less than an ounce. So an ounce total from first and big bass. And because I lost that sucker, we got no money for big bass and second, which paid $140 as opposed to $380 at a two. It ended up being about a $350 difference because I'm a dumbass and can't land one fish on a damn minnow. I was so bitter. So then I just stood by the boat, like you stand around and congratulate all the guy, that stuff. But I thought it was hilarious. Austin's like, where'd you go? And I was like, I don't know. I said I was pretty disgusted in myself. He's like, oh, it's all good, dude. No worries. So then he had to post the photo of the two good ones we had by himself.
Because you were gone.
Yeah, I was standing up by the boat. He goes, Matt Pangrack and I tried to break the second place curse tonight. Matt skipped the picture. Had 11.96 and lost by less than an ounce. Makes the 4 straight second place finish in a row.
Oh my gosh. That is but it wasn't your fault the fish came off.
I know I didn't do anything wrong, but it burns me.
Yeah, it's tough. I hate it. I hate losing fish. I mean, we all do.
I can live with it because I know I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But here's the only thing. So I was throwing here's the only thing that gets me. So I was throwing an unreleased jig head that I've had a lot of success with. Like I have no qualms with that jig head. It's bad to the bone. It actually enhances the action threefold, has an insanely sharp Gamakatsu in it. But it's like that kind of kale style hook, almost like, so it's like doesn't have a really wide gap. And then I was putting it, I should have been putting it on the 5-inch Sakamata, but I was putting it on the freeloader, which is a meteor bait. This is just what I've thought about afterwards. And this is a little 1/0 hook in this jig head that makes the bait act when you get it, it pins them. But when you look at it, the plastic thickness drastically reduces the hook gap. So I'm wondering if I didn't have my plastic slightly outmatching my hook.
Well, you could
to where I should have gone with the Horizon head instead, but I was lazy to where I just put the freeloader on that hook instead of putting a new Sakamata on.
Right, but you could have taken the soft plastic and rigged the jig head higher in it. Give you more gap, less through the back.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a 5-inch swim bait that I do that with, and minnow that I do that with, where I want a smaller hook because the hook up to land ratio is better. So I hook it higher in the bait. And I found that here's
a problem, Chuck. If you tried to put a stinger on a minnow, you would kill every single fish you caught.
Yeah.
Because you'd have a stinger in the gills and gullet every single time. Except that time. That time you wouldn't. That time you
Right. That time it would have worked.
Yeah.
Usually you don't need it, though.
Oh, I'm 95% hook to land ratio on the minnow. Like I've got it dialed in with the 7-foot medium and the Sunline Overwatch with the 10-pound leader and the 3,000 size reel. I mean, like I've got it to where it feels second nature to me.
Right.
It just pissed me off that out of all the ones that came off, it was the one that would have won us a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to lose fish.
I'm not bitching about it. It's just a story.
It's a great story, though. You just get back from Alaska, and the first thing you do is go fish a night derby.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I showed this yesterday. We got to do this when you come too. I got my In Fisherman Master Angler patch and my crappie patch.
Outstanding.
So now I need an old school jacket to sew those suckers on.
Or a jumpsuit.
I want to be able to wear it, and I would not wear a jumpsuit. I would be too self-conscious.
No kidding. Especially if it was orange.
Yeah. Drunkwood would sew it into a crop top.
A tie-dye crop top.
Yeah. They say, "Oh no, here comes the master angler himself."
That's so funny. You get a board and pin them on the board.
Nah, I'm picturing like the old school jacket,
I know 100%.
the Ranger jacket with the hoodie, the cotton hood, and then the shell.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's funny.
Cam, the benefit of the 3000 reel. So if like I use a Daiwa, it's a cheaper reel, but it's still a good one. But to me, I'm not afraid of 2500s either. I like that. But that 3000 is not a big 3000. I know they have the same, but 3000 reels to me across the board, whether you're using a Shimano, a Daiwa, an Abu, whatever, a Luz, they're all a different size. It's kind of like a t-shirt size to me. And I think the spool size is the same, but the frame that they built around the spool is totally different. So in this case, you could put a 2500 and a 3000 Daiwa up next to each other on the spinning reels.
Same.
Couldn't even, it just looks slightly bigger in the spool, and that's it. So I use that because then I'll put more backing on, and then I'll put the whole 150 yards of braid that it comes with the Overwatch on. But to me, it's just better line management, less line twist, better casting distance.
Yep.
Just the bigger spool is the same thing, and it just kind of, it's just, why not go with the bigger spool?
Yeah, because I'm using a Daiwa 3000 as well, and I have old 3000s, and the old ones are twice the size. And so I went to the new ones, and they look just like a 2500, except the spool's bigger.
But like I said, I've got somewhere I've ordered them in the past from other brands, and it's like, I mean, it's like you're ocean fishing, surf fishing with them. And I'm like, what the hell do I do with this thing?
Right. They're giant. I don't like the giant reel. I think the weight of the reel interferes with the lightness of the rods today.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I would say what it is. It's a $68 reel.
Oh, I know which one you're throwing.
I freaking love it. You've seen them.
Yeah, I'm throwing. I could say what I'm throwing. I'm throwing the Exceller.
What's that? I think Frankie said it's a $90 reel.
Yeah, something like that.
I left two of them up in Alaska for my buddy O, and he's like, "These things are so nice." I didn't tell him they were $68.
Yeah, the first king he hooks on one, they could throw in the garbage.
No, I caught one on a king. I caught a king on it.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm throwing them too. I have 3 the ones you're using, and 3 the Excellers.
Let me ask you this. You hear guys burning up reels. Have you ever in your life actually burned up a reel on a fish?
No. And And here, look, I'm going to tell you guys something. I literally just went through a process of exchanging all of my reels. I've finally got all my reels exchanged. The reels that I have been using, some of them are 20 years old, and they are still in perfect working order. Mm-hmm. It was just time to, I couldn't buy parts for them anymore, et cetera, et cetera. So it was time to reflush. So I just finished my last group of reels last week, actually. And so I feel really good. Now they're all brand new, and it was a lot because I have like 32 rods. So it was a process, one that I couldn't do at one time. I had to do little bits and pieces here and there, but I finally got them all replaced, and I'm very happy about it.
Oh, I think we're using the same reel, except yours is just one step up with components.
Well, I have the same reel you're using also. I have 3 of those, and I have 5 Excellers.
What's the difference between, in your opinion, between the Exceller and the Regal?
Okay, so I went to the Exceller only because I think it's sturdier.
I see what you mean.
I like the handle better.
So the Regal to me fishes like a $300 spinning reel, but I do notice it is. I don't want to say plasticky because that's the wrong word.
I think the frame.
It has a little flex to it. Does that make sense?
Yes. The framing on the Exceller is a little stouter, I believe. And I like the handle better on the Exceller. And that's what made me do it. And of course, Frankie couldn't talk enough
the new
about
Regals, so the Regals that you have don't have it. The new Regals here, I'm going to pull it up on Omnia here. The new Regals have the same handle.
Oh man, see if they had, if I would have done it, I would have spent the money. I would have bought the Regal.
I'm in the exact same boat as you. But I'm looking at the Exceller here for $99. I mean, that's a good looking. See, it's got the exact same change. I've got the old ones and the newer ones. They updated that handle.
I knew they were going to do that too, because I said, why would they put this handle on this reel? Okay, so all right, so I could live with that.
Yeah, but I also kind of want to upgrade a little bit because I have to pop a couple more of these because I got Leech coming up.
I'm telling you, you will be very happy with the Exceller.
Okay.
It's light as a feather. It seems a little sturdier. And I've had no drag issues at all with it.
Because you can literally get 2 for 1 for the price of a Tatula.
Correct. I'm not a cheap ass, but I can't see spending $200 to $300 for a spinning reel.
Michael, I still throw a lot of the Denali reels, the baitcaster reels. And then I've got, I mean, I don't care. I'll tell exactly what I've got. I throw the Denalis, but when it comes to scoping with a jerkbait, Luz makes this little made this little compact reel that fits my hands a lot better.
Yeah.
As for like manipulating and stuff. It's just a very small compact style. So I throw that on that, and then I've got 2 Luz that I deep crank with.
Yeah. So I just switched everything to Luz. Everything I got now is Luz except for my spinning reels. And the reason that I did it was I had all Revo STXs and Revo winches, the purple ones or blue ones. Loved them. They got me through my entire Bassmaster career. And I had a hard time getting rid of them because I liked them that much. But what was happening was over the course of time, I would replace bearings, replace gears. Some of my STXs, I geared them down so they were 5/4 to 1s. Because everything was interchangeable, so I could Frankenstein reels if I wanted to, and I did a lot of times. It just got to the point where I wanted something a little lighter, something that felt better in my old man hands. And I fished some of Frankie's Luz, and I kind of liked them a lot. And so I just said, well, I'm going to do this. It'll be a gradual thing. It took me about a year to replace all 32 reels. And so that's what I did. I wound up just replacing them one at a time. And what I did for my cranking stuff was I got the Luz 5 1-to-1s. The one that doesn't have the infinite anti-reverse bearing, so it gives you line slap. I use those for all my deep cranking. And so that's what I did, man. I just decided it was time to bite the bullet and do it.
Very nice.
But I never, what's funny? I never took a reel sponsor even in Bassmasters.
I think that's the little one, that Luz custom light that I like to throw my jerk baits on.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I made a mistake on. I'm still throwing my jerk baits on my cranking reels, and in hindsight, I would have got the one with the infinite anti-reverse for jerkbait fishing.
I want something that's really small, that feels like a spinning rod to me, that I can take that flash point or a 110 +1 and do a quick little roll cast in the wind and keep it 6-7 feet above the bottom to where there's no arc in it, where it's just a zoop,
right,
and then and get it down. But I want it to be a small compact reel where I don't lose the feel, and to where it's buttery smooth. So I can pack that. Like I pack it with the 10-pound crank FC.
Yeah, and the thing, and which is good because that's like an 8-pound line diameter of everybody else's line.
Correct.
Yeah, that's good because I do the same thing. I jerkbait with 8, especially in the colder months. I jerkbait with 8. I think it gives the jerkbait a better action, better
it gets
depth
it
for
deeper,
sure.
1,000%,
100%. And most of the time you're open water fighting them, unless you're jerking over brush piles. Most of the time you're open water fighting. Like I got the flash points right before the flash points came out. It was not quite our jerkbait season. It was translating into summer. And I took them out on Lake Erie and fished them and caught the living crap out of them. Largemouth, not smallmouth. I wasn't smallmouth fishing. I was largemouth fishing, and caught the crap out of them on the flash point doing that. And it was because the 8-pound line gave me the ability to get to this deep grass edge and keep the bait right above the grass edge. And that was the thing. The cool thing about that is now they got the Flashpoint Junior Deep coming out, which is going to be so money. I can't wait to fish that this winter. It's going to be so money.
Very cool. All right, what else you got today, Frank?
Nothing. It was a surprise show for me. I thought you were still going to be up north, man, watching the Northern Lights.
Eventually get some work done. I think we missed the Northern Lights by like a week.
Bummer. That would have been.
I got to get away from the bass fishing for at least 6 days a year.
I'm gonna agree with that. You
do the steelhead stuff too.
Yeah.
You do the crappie stuff. You do that. Like, I think it is good for your mental health. I think it is good for your bass game. I think it is good for your soul to go someplace where you're out of your comfort zone, or someone else is the expert.
Yeah.
You're catching a species that you don't do every day. It's something new. Like, that just keeps the brain active.
I agree. I don't think fishing for other species ever hurts you in bass fishing. I think it only helps you, because I think you become more aware to other things. And that's I agree. Like I muskie fish, I pike fish, I steelhead fish, I walleye fish, I crappie fish. I don't walleye fish a lot, to be honest with you, but when I go, I go to catch them for the freezer. And so I do that. I had a buddy of mine that took a trip to Louisiana, and he sent me like 15 pounds of redfish fillets and speckled trout.
Phenomenal.
Oh, I cooked this. I made some redfish the other night, and it was so good. It was sickening. I did a butter Cajun sauce, and I think I'm going to go away from Cajun. The Cajun seasoning. I think I'm going to doctor it up. I'm doing my own thing. I'm working on right now. I'm working on making like a Nashville hot chicken, and I'm going to do the redfish in that.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait. It's going to be banging.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. Like, that would be, I do like that, like the hot chicken batter and stuff on it.
Dude, just get it crispy as could be. Oh my gosh, man! And redfish.
The only
is
problem
like
is that, I mean, I know that my system is going to revolt, and I'll still occasionally indulge. But I know, like, when I eat it, like, I don't eat it before I get on a cross-country flight, if you know what I'm saying.
I think I do.
Like, I eat it if I know that for the next 24 to 48 hours, I have absolutely zero obligations in my life.
Well, but here's the thing, okay? Like, so here's the thing. You could control the amount of whatever ingredients you want to put in if you make your own. If you buy it pre-made,
no, that's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I'll tell you what, I love a Dave's hot chicken sandwich, and I love Popeye's hot chicken sandwich. Man, I mean, I like the Popeyes hot chicken so much, and they do it in a shrimp too. But if I even slow down while passing a Popeyes, I have issues. Like if I'm passing it on the road and I like tap on the brakes and it crosses my mind, it's not going to, it's not a good day.
Yeah. So what I've learned is because there's some like the Cajun spice that we bought pre-made.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not doing that because I don't buy pre-made stuff. I make it myself, and then I can control what I put in it and what I don't put in it. Like I'm not a fan of cumin. Cumin bothers me, and so if I
I'm not sure what the purpose is of that.
Yeah,
spice.
so I could eliminate it if I make my own mix. I could eliminate it, or put a very small amount. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to say, like, if I come up this year at some point, I've got this, and I've got frog legs.
And I've got enough crappie and redfish.
And we could literally do a smorgasbord. So, all right. Next, what is today? The 20th, 27th.
27th, and a surprise show for me.
Yeah, next Thursday, the 3rd, I should be around. You get on the 3rd, the day before the 4th of July?
Yeah, that don't matter to me. Every day's the 4th of July for me, dude.
All right. I think in the foreseeable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we should be able to hit 6 or 7 in a row, Frank.
Beautiful. My life has a purpose again.
Don't forget, lurenet.com, loyal listener code BTL25 gets you 15% off all regularly priced items. You can share that code with anybody else who wants to purchase it. Do whatever you want. Buy a bunch of crap on there.
Yeah, it's not
basically what we're saying, right?
It's not a secret.
I'm not, and I don't say crap as it like that. Instead, just buy stuff.
Yeah, they know what you meant.
If you're gonna buy stuff at full price, you might as well use the code. Is what I'm saying.
100%. And I'm working on some things. There's a new signature line coming out. We're going through it now. It'll be out in a few months.
I want the GLF and the 3/8 ounce football head with a skirt on it and a really light, subtle weed guard. That's what I want, Frank.
Well, I talked with old Dano about that already. We'll see how that goes. I will say one thing. So you know the GLF little paddle tail minnow that they came out with?
The GLF?
Yeah, Dan's gonna kill me because I don't remember the name. I'm bad with names of things. And,
the drop kick shad.
Yeah, the drop kick shad. I've been throwing that on a little 1/8 ounce jig head, and I cannot tell you how many giant crappies I'm catching on that. Like, it's stupid. And I'm catching bass on it too, because if I throw it a bass, I catch the bass. If I throw it a crappie, I catch the crappie. But I'm noticing in the warm weather, they want it moving a little bit, and they want that paddle, and they've been annihilating it. And the coolest thing is, I've got the same one on my jig head. I must have caught 100 crappies on it and 40 bass on it already.
Yeah, it's got some of that weird proprietary neutral buoyancy plastic.
And it's tough. Like, it's great. It stays on the weed guard with no glue. I mean, on the keeper guard with no glue, no nothing. And I've been using the same one.
It is definitely worth getting a pack of those.
I'm really pleased with it.
I think they're really cheap too. Yeah, $6.99.
Yeah, they are.
For 5 baits. And like I said, I think you can get 20 or 30 fish per bait or per pack.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna
get 20 fish out of a 5-pack, I would think. Wouldn't you?
I'm gonna guarantee it. I've used two. I've used 2 of them so far, and I've caught probably over 100 fish. It's exciting.
That just reminded me. We've ran the Men's Warehouse commercials here, haven't we?
Yes. you're gonna get chicks. They're gonna line up. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I don't care. This probably is gonna get us demonetized on this, but this just reminded me here. It has to have audio. Every once in a while, you'll say something that reminds me of some weird. Share screen, entire screen.
I'm afraid.
No. This is good. All right. This is from 2006 or something. This is Men's Warehouse. You've never heard the Men's Warehouse guy? Here.
Yeah. Shirts that look and feel as good in the evening as they do in the morning. You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
The I guarantee it part?
Yeah.
That sounds exact like the guy's distinguished just like you. Here, listen to it again.
You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
I don't know why.
I don't know how you find this crap so fast, dude. You just find this stuff like in a blink.
But I said 20 a pack, and you said, I guarantee it. Just like the guy from Men's Warehouse. Please, someone else tell me that they knew.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly the commercials, too.
Next week, in honor of the 4th of July, can we give away a $50 LureNet gift card?
Sure.
So on the 3rd, $50 LureNet gift card, and then Blake, Great Minds Think Alike, will also give away a USA Bass. Like, look at that. Can you get a better 4th of July hat than that, Frank?
No. That's a good 4th of July.
A USA will also give away to a different person a USA Bass Richardson 112 hat. Do you know the last time I fished for them? I won the double gold medals, Frank. I've got them hanging right there.
It happened to be in Mexico, did it?
Happened to be in Mexico.
I heard something about that.
El Chichillo, yeah.
Outstanding.
Scott actually just dropped his first video of that series, and then both of the videos are out. Andrew Upshaw, Let's Fish TV.
Beautiful.
Holy smoke, of an hour and 22, Frank.
Wow, on your first day back. Way to go.
We only missed 1 week.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No.
I needed the day off.
Good. All right, let's do it again. Same time, same place. Next week. This has been another edition of Day 4 with Frank Scalish. We'll talk to everyone later. See ya.
Bye-bye.